So welcome everyone. I'm super excited for this live interview with Emily Kuser. We're going to have a short introduction after. So this interview is a part of my Make Magic Happen January challenge, where I want to bring dreams to reality. And I'm really happy for everybody who's joining. Let me know if you're here, give a little like, and I'm really happy that Emily's here with me.
Thank you.
So I'd just let you introduce yourself quickly, just so people also know who you are.
Sure. My name's Emily Kuser, and I'm a yoga teacher and a women's health educator. And I've been living in Bali for about 11 years, working at the yoga barn for most of that time and running programs under my school, High Vibe Yoga, and running women's circles and courses on different taboo subjects like sex, death, and wealth. Definitely just career-wise, always pushing the edge a bit and comfort zones, shaking things up. And I'm really happy to be here to talk with you about some of those things.
So yeah, maybe just a short introduction how I met Emily. It was around 5 or 6 years ago. I was, that's kind of a story I shared earlier. I was at that point in a pretty different spot than where I am now. I was not in a happy relationship. I was living in an apartment with my ex-boyfriend. They had no clue what I want to do. And I just finished the winter season in the mountains, and I saw the retreat popping up with Emily in Greece. And I was like, okay, let's do that. So I went on this yoga retreat, and she just helped me so much. And this retreat really brought me down to earth, helped me reconnecting back to yoga and back to myself. And since then, I kept following her on social media. And this winter, I saw her again in Sweden for this women's self-care training, which was an amazing experience. I think we're going to talk about that later, about the whole women's self-care and what you're doing with it, which is just incredible. So I remember you sharing your life story. So you left home really early and you just followed your heart. How do you explain, or how do you, maybe just shortly first share your story. What was your way until now?
Sure. Yeah, I had both a beautiful upbringing and an incredibly chaotic upbringing, full of all of the tragic things that you need therapy for later on in life. And I left home when I was around 17, and was one of those kids that got in my car and moved to Los Angeles and slept in my car for a while until I could find roommates and have enough money to pay rent and find a job and make money to put myself through college and all of those things. So through all of that, I found yoga along that path, and it really helped me to understand the chaos in my life and put a little bit of order to the chaos. And also it was really helping me wake up to my own potential. And so while having a pretty wild life, both as a kid and then as an adult, especially as an adult or a teenager, the yoga was really kind of blossoming and opening me up, my body and my mind. And I was really blessed with falling into some of the greatest teachers that were available in California and also in Arizona. And I moved from LA. I moved to Santa Barbara and went to school there and did all the things, like environmental studies. I was a nanny. I was a dossier at this place called Lotus Land Garden. I was bartending and singing karaoke while slinging drinks, and then doing yoga in the morning, teaching in classes at school. And then I was working at this amazing yoga boutique too that was filled with spiritual literature, and I spent hours and hours every day reading and reading and reading, and those books were really waking me up, really in a huge way. And I did have an awakening. I had a huge life-changing awakening in my early 20s, late teens, and it was the catalyst for me to move to Bali when I was in my early 20s.
Mm-hmm. And then in Bali, how do you arrive to Ubud, and how did this connection with the yoga barn happen?
I basically had this. I didn't know anything about Bali, nothing. I didn't know anybody there. Barely had any money, and I just decided to get on a plane and go there based on a feeling, and also based on a reoccurring dream that I was having around that time. Mm-hmm. So I showed up there, and it was the right time, right place. I met the right people. My heart was open. I really was passionate about yoga and spirituality and culture. And it really all unfolded from there. I look back and I'm amazed that I had the guts to take all of those risks, just follow my heart in that way. Because it's affected my whole life and my family's life too. Like my brother lives in Bali now, married to a Balinese high priestess. He's a Hindu, he ordained a Hindu priest, and they have a little baby. Like my little American brother is now a Hindu priest in Bali. It is just the story how it's unfolded is quite extraordinary. And I started my yoga school, and yeah, it's very unique the way it all has unfolded.
It's incredible. So maybe because like this whole challenge is about how to bring dreams to reality. So what always brought you to have the courage to step in?
What gave me the courage?
Yeah.
I would imagine I would bet it's partly divine intervention, meaning it's just it's part of what was for me. You know, could call that a karmic situation. To have that kind of courage, you know, everybody has seemingly like a different amount of it and energy to manifest it. But I also really do think that the yoga had a huge part to play. Like going from being quite numb in my body through drugs and alcohol and just a lot of trauma from when I was a kid. To go from being numb to suddenly feeling my body and hearing my mind and feeling there's such a thing as spirit, like through the yoga practice, that really gave me a lot of courage. It gave me a vessel to make courageous acts and speak courageously, and because I feel and know what it's like to be so shut down. So I'd rather be courageous than be really shut down.
It's beautiful.
I think the yoga is breathing grace in so many ways. Yeah,
it is. So maybe for those who don't know, you led how many teacher trainings during the years?
I do 2 monthly trainings a year at the yoga barn in Ubud, Bali, and I've been doing that for 7 years. It's going to be 8 years that I've had my school, and then within that, I was a full-time yoga teacher at the yoga barn, doing Hatha Yoga, Yin Yoga, a lot of meditation classes and women's circles, and then a lot of workshops and things, and traveling internationally to teach. So
incredible.
I've held a lot. I counted it up. I've spent over a year and a half solid in the studio teaching my own trainings, and then let alone like being in other people's trainings. I've spent an outrageous amount of time in yoga shalas.
Not the baddest place to be, right?
It's pretty yeah.
That's beautiful. And then, like through the whole circle, you came more and more to the women's self-care. How did that what happened, or how do you explain that you got so passionate about women's self-care?
That's a really good question. I think about this a lot. A few things happened. I had already had a history with studying the body in extensive ways and studying spirituality in extensive ways. And I got to a point where I started to, I was exploring somatics, which is the felt sense of things. And I was roaming around different schools and with different teachers and going through different courses. And I'm a book nerd and I have lots of books on everything. And I started to just get clued into the fact that there was no information about my body as a woman. There wasn't any information about the menstrual cycle, about the uterus, about the vagina, about my breasts, about orgasm, about pleasure, about any of these things. And even saying that now, I could say those words without a charge. It took me time to get to know what I was looking for, what I was feeling. It was like, I'm a woman, and we're supposed to have a felt sense of what it is to be in this body. I'm a woman and I have these body parts, but they're not being referred to, and I can't find information on them. And I haven't been taught anything about my body as a woman in the field of yoga and spirituality, actually. Not much, and I've done a lot.
Yeah.
And it actually started to make me, over time, I started to actually get really angry about it. I felt like a fire inside, which the yoga texts speak of as a call to action, when you start to feel like a burning inside about something. And yeah, it was a really hot topic for me, and still is, to realize I had put so much of my time, energy, my money, my teachings into this field, but yet, in all honesty, my body as a woman and my mind, my psyche, my rhythms as a woman were being completely ignored.
Yeah. I remember,
maybe it was my
sorry, I remember when you were talking about Yoni Shakti, where it says, or where you also say that the yoga is made for men in the end, and there is like, just for example, the womb is not mentioned as an organ really to take care of or to put attention in.
Right. And the uterus, the womb, is where all humans come from. I think that's quite a significant piece of information, and to regard that organ as something valuable to talk about. And that women are, going through a menstrual cycle every month, or, have issues with them. So it's just like, I realized very strongly that I need to, it's not that we globally need to, it's just I have a personal responsibility to educate myself better, and then to be an educator on these things, because if I spent that much time in holistics and on this path of self-discovery, and it was fresh information to me, then that means there's cajillions of women out there that are in the dark about it, and that I've proven that true, verified true, based on having the courage to go and start teaching new things for women, and realizing, oh wow, we've had, like, I call it, there's been a spell cast over women, like there's a lot of reasons for that, and I get a lot of joy out of explaining why.
Yeah. Remember.
A lot of power to talk about it.
Yeah, really. The self-care training was beautiful, and I'm really so grateful for this experience, and also the connection of women. So as you know, I'm all about women who inspire others, and we try to build up a strong community around it. And I learned from you holding this women's circle. So maybe you can share a bit your experience with holding these women's circles and what it means for you, and what were your experiences with it?
Sure. Yeah, talking circles are ancient. And there's something I've been facilitating for a really long time. As long as I've been teaching yoga, I've been facilitating talking circles. But for me, holding women's circles was so out of my comfort zone, but I knew I needed to do it. It was so scary for me to change into doing something just for women, to talk about
Why?
women's
When I
subjects.
women's because of subjects.
Why? Because I just felt like, in all honesty, I just felt like it was such a woo. Like I felt like it was kind of woo-woo for me. It was too feminine for me, even still after doing a lot of work in the feminine. It felt like, oh God, what are people going to think of me as a teacher? Have I just gone down this? Am I going to lose my credibility? Is my reputation is it just going to be like all about women, femininity? I was just uncomfortable about it in the beginning and what people would think. But like I said before, I had a burning calling inside to start doing that. And the Yoga Barn, where I've been working, is a huge spiritual center, and it attracts a lot of people. So it wasn't like I was just doing this with a few people watching or participating. It was like, if I did that, it would be a lot of attention. It was. But wow, am I ever glad I stepped into that. And right when I did it, I realized a lot of women want to hold women's circles and understand how to do it. And realized one of the things we're missing is just some structure around how to do it. So from my own, like putting it together from scratch, I wrote a how-to guide, which is on my website, which has gone super viral. It's like the thing on my website that for some reason is clicked on the most and sent around the world. So I'm really proud of that. And I've learned so much from listening to stories of women from all, and that's another beautiful thing about where I've been holding the women's circles in Bali is I get in every single women's circle, there could be 25, 30 women, sometimes more than that. And I'll have 25 nationalities in one space. So you get to hear some wild stories of what women have experienced in their lives. And I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. That's what I can say. And I really encourage women and have been encouraging women to start holding women's circles in their neighborhoods, in their cities and towns, and to have the courage to do that and to be themselves doing it, not to think they need to be super spiritual or this, that, or the other, but just knowing it's a really helpful, useful, simple tool to use in a community. And I always say, everything you ever wanted to learn as a woman, you can learn in a women's circle. Anything you wanted to know, ever, you can learn in a women's circle.
True. Yeah. So many things coming together, and what I find really beautiful to see that no matter what background or look or age, like we share so many topics in common. And like topics like normal days you don't talk about, and suddenly you sit in this circle, you just met each other and you share some really private stuff, and you see like, oh, the girl next to me has the same issue going on. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like medicine for isolation, it's medicine for anxiety, it's medicine for women that are what do you say? Competitiveness between women. That's the women's circle is medicine for all of that stuff.
It is.
Yeah, finding the commonalities, and then having compassion awakened inside of a women's circle to a woman maybe you would never talk to or associate with, and she shares, and you're like, whoa, wow, I would have never known, and I feel her.
It's big. And for the self-care, discovering, I remember you were talking once about discovering your own self, your body, how to take care of yourself. What were your game changer? What would you recommend to everybody to do, or every woman to do?
For women to take care of themselves? get involved with some women that are uplifting. Join a women's circle or join a community of women. There's a lot going on out there. So that's number one, because that you don't really have to do too much, but when you start to get involved with anything that is to bring women together in in respect to women's health and body, mind, and spirit, that's like step number one. Have your community of women and choose wisely, because that can be your saving grace. And two, prioritizing the healing of the body, and that includes like really slowing down, taking your shoes off, putting your feet on the ground outside, even if it's cold, being outside alone for a while, and having some sort of physical time to yourself, like whether that's turning on music and going wild dancing, or having a yoga practice, or doing some connected breath work, which is in all of my programs. It's quite an extraordinary and simple practice that can really be a catalyst for like spiritual breakthroughs and things like that. But the body is the gateway to really understanding like emotions and feelings and stuckness. So, and nature, having some access to parks or nature or whatever, fresh air once in a while is really necessary. And the third, I would really say breast massage is super amazing. When I first heard about breast massage, I was like, why? I think breast massage is just to check for cancer of the breasts. That's how I thought about it. A friend was like, no, try it, Emily. I had been talking about it, my numbness in my chest, and when I started to work with breast massage, and it's a very simple technique, it awakened so much self-compassion and self-love in me, and really gave me this, like, I cry when I spend 5 minutes in the morning or after my shower doing this, and it brings sensation to my breasts, which awakens pleasure in my entire body, and pleasure for women, I think, is our number. We need to really learn about that and wake that up in our own lives. And every woman has a different way to access her pleasure. But I find breast massage to be so beautiful, and so can be done in not too much time.
And you can use some nice oil or just a shower. Shower is so most essential.
Oil. Just to simply have your hands on the body, and our breasts take so much, they take so much attention, and in certain countries can be a shameful part of the body, or hidden or exposed to be super sexual for others, for men, and but the breasts are the space of self-love, and it is these are our place of real connection to ourselves as women. And there's
being in Brazil at the moment, like it's incredible to see how many women have breast operation, and how, like, for what subject, and it kind of hurts. It makes me sad. Like I was sitting in a round with 5 women, and all at this like incredible oversized breasts, and I'm like, so for what? They're so I think touch is kind of lost, and it was making me sad to see.
And breast massage can still be done on, women with breast implants can still, and I have witnessed women who take on these simple practices of getting to honor their body again in very natural ways. want to get their breast implants out at a certain time, and then some women don't. They want to keep their breast implants, and they've
Yeah, I'm not judging. I mean, there are ways and can be beautiful as well. It's good that it exists. It depends which intention, but good to know that's like, I mean, that the senses and the nerves are still there. So
yeah, it does. With a breast implant, though, it really does change the sensation a lot in the breast. There's still energy coursing through, which is beautiful.
Yeah. So you are started also to run now trainings about women's self-care, which is pretty pioneer-wise, I would say. What brought? Yeah, visionary. Which is beautiful. How was the feedback so far for that?
For the one coming up, the
big one, yeah.
I'm doing
a 200-hour.
I'm doing a month-long women's self-care training, 200-hour, and the response has been incredible. And again, it was a little scary for me to stretch my program and run it almost like I would my 200-hour yoga trainings, but to focus all on women's spirituality, psychology, sexuality, and physiology, and with a yoga foundation, self-care informed yoga. Yeah, great response, because it is unique. It's really unique. It's surprising material, and I think that I've led enough of shorter versions of this course that the response from women, there's been a really cool buzz about the program, and so I'm very proud of it, and I'm excited to have a really great faculty of what I'd say very rebellious women. The women who are coming to teach this 200-hour training are quite radical in their own right in the way they've been teaching. So it'll be a very cool journey.
That's super cool. I'm super excited to follow you and to see how that will go and get some feedback about that. Maybe regarding changing topic, regarding dreams and bringing them to reality or make magic happen in life. What would be something you would recommend somebody who is kind of on the, I know I want more, I know actually where I want to go, but I'm kind of stuck?
Well, I would say in life, it's okay to be stuck. That's, the intensity is real. Life can be really intense and stuck. And the stuckness is part of life. You gotta get stuck once in a while and feel the irritating just frustration of being stuck. And it could be for months, it could be for years, it could be after a breakup or divorce, or it could be because you got ill or an injury or whatever, and can't get through the mud. And so there, as annoying as it is to hear it, and it's written in all the spiritual texts, the mud has value. If you can get in that mud and just feel it for what it is, there will be a time when you kind of grow out of the mud and blossom open like the lotus. That's the symbol of the lotus, rising out of the mud, right? But there are, the three things that I said before are ways to get unstuck.
Yeah.
Being social with women and having that support, you have to take a step forwards to make that happen and manifest it. You have to take action to find, your group of women friends. And you gotta kind of take action to move your body every day for a while and note it and spend the time working through the mud of the body and the aches and the pains and the traumas, stiffness. You know, even yoga teachers or yoga practitioners for years and years get into ruts and really stuck. I've gone through them myself, and they're so painful. And it takes tenderness and care and dedication to move through that stuff, finding a physical practice. And then, you know, breast massage too would be really great for getting unstuck.
Yeah.
And then on top of all of those things, like if necessary, get a therapist or a coach, or it works wonders, because what I've realized with women is, you know, and finances are a thing, but there's always a way to make that work. But with women, we have so much going on inside, and the world doesn't appreciate how colorful we are inside and how many different archetypes we are inside. So we're given this really narrow place to live, with how we can speak, behave, move, and so we project everything that's stuck inside and expect our partners and our families and our colleagues to take responsibility for us and our friends, to hear all of our aches and pains and everything, when, you know what, sometimes you need to pay someone to take all of that and have them help. It will help you make sense of it. And there's times in life where it's really necessary to do that for 3 months or 6 months. Go find a therapist or a coach or something that's going to help you through the mud. It's
Also what I experienced is like saying yes to the universe, like, okay, I take this problem, I'm proactive now, so I'm gonna get somebody, I want to solve it, I want to see the end. And that's where there's a lot of changes happening afterwards for myself and others. Yeah.
And it's no secret, the world we're living in touchy times right now, so get all the support needed, and at the same time understand that we're not always meant to be happy and joyful as women. It's not the way we were built. We have an angry side, a side that needs to express rage and jealousy, and we need to express our sadness and our grief and our like the creativity that can come through all of that. It's not that we need to feel good all the time. There's the menstrual cycle, like the few days leading up to the menstrual cycle, those days are your psychic time of feeling really, really sensitive, which is why it's gotten a back up. That's the time to deal with like the rage and the anger and the sadness and the grief. You have that built into, like, nature gave us that. So sometimes self-help world can feel like, oh, I need to feel good all the time. If I'm feeling bad, there's something wrong with me, and it might not be that way, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing with all the quotes being thrown at you, like, be happy, be whatever. So yeah, that's to accept that there are times when it's okay to be sad or angry. It's especially for women, it's a big thing.
There are times when life just feels too hard and it feels like shit, and it's okay. It's okay.
It is.
It may not feel okay. I get that side of it, but it's just remembering. I don't know. I feel like the universe throws out tests where needed.
Yeah. It's a good one. And maybe I always end this interview, we are not fully on the end, but yet, with a question, because I go through transformational life coaching. So what do you do if you are in a transformational phase? Well, we kind of talked about it. You know how to ground, going into nature, move your body. Is there something else if you see like a big change happening, which you're doing?
That's a really great question, Anita. I think that that's when transformation I would say that's when it's good. It's a good idea to reach out to the wisdom teachers, um, and to look into to take a look into literature or wisdom teachings in the texts where it describes transformational situations or kundalini awakenings or
Mhm.
because transformation is an awakening of sort, it's waking up to something that you weren't awake to before. And
Yeah.
there's so much reassuring uh, writings on this and teachers that speak to that. Like one of my teachers, Sally Kempton, she's so reassuring in that way. If I feel like I'm going through some huge smack in the face change,
Yeah.
I tune into her. I go in, I see her, or I whatever, and I know that it's medicine. It helps me a lot, um, because what has to be understood is it's not that transformation. It has happened to someone else before, and someone
Yeah.
else can kind of narrate or give a little bit of a map to what that how to work with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any book recommendation? You said you're a bookworm.
Yeah. Oh gosh, so many.
Oh.
The number one book I'm recommending right now for women is called Burning Woman by Lucy Pierce.
Mhm.
I want every woman to read that. It's a requirement for my month-long women's self-care training. Burning
Mhm.
Woman by Lucy Pierce. In fact, any books by Lucy Pierce would be completely worth reading. But Burning Woman
Mhm.
talks to that feeling of, oh my God, if I if I say this, I feel like I might get ostracized or annihilated or burned. If I do this in my community, I feel like I might get burned for it. It goes into how that's still so deep in ourselves as women, um, and in our ancestry as women, and why we feel that way so often, and why it's a time where a lot of women are feeling that like burning feeling inside of
Yeah.
stepping up and saying what's true and revealing wrongdoings, like the hashtag Me Too movement,
Yeah.
and so Burning Woman is a great book that I think is super nourishing for women
Yeah.
at this time.
Do you have any explanation that this? I just see this really big movement coming of finding your femininity, of this speaking up, this Me Too. Do you have any explanation why it's coming up now, not later, or what?
I think the world needs it right now.
Yeah.
We need to we need to shift into a more matriarchal way of living. Um, it's amazing how tough that is for women to even imagine because we haven't had that in God knows how many generations of imagine a world run by women,
Yeah.
uh, organized by women, where women are calling the shots. Um, I think it's a really I, I believe deeply in my bones that that's happening, and it's a really confusing time for men and women in that way. And for women, it's a free for all. We're like, oh my God, I need to learn this. I need to learn that. I never knew that about myself. I never even knew that about my body. I never knew that. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like this addiction to knowing more and more and more and more and more at a
Mhm.
frenzy kind of right now. We need to go through this. We need to go through this to rebalance the scales,
Yeah.
and so and because more women are stepping up, and because of social media and the availability of the internet,
Mhm.
there's less fear maybe to say the things that need to be said. And so yeah, we've got this platform of whoa.
It's big.
Really shocking. Yeah, really shocking things. And
yeah.
Power trips being rebalanced.
Mm. Beautiful.
Hope that answered your question.
It did. So, do you have anything you would like to say more to end this interview?
Oh, sure. Happy New Year to everybody listening out there. And may this new year feel fresh and full of honesty for all of us. And may we take care of our body, mind, and spirit, especially those of us women out there who really honor what we've been given by nature and we learn cycles. I really feel that that's what's needed it's what's needed right now to bring some healing to the world. Right now, as women, when we take this on ourselves and unite in that way. So many blessings to every woman on that path. This is a big one.
Thank you. Thank you so much for participating and being part of it. And thank you everyone for listening. If you are in a replay, give us a little comment so you know you were there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anita.
Thank you. Bye bye.